Hi everyone, and welcome to Math Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. Okay, so in the previous videos, I was talking about processing numbers, okay, and that was straightforward. But now I'm going to introduce you to the basics of functions, okay? And one of the things I want you to keep in mind is that when we talk about functions we usually say there's a popular saying that says that functions are rules, but not all rules are functions. So let me write it down here. So I say functions, okay, are rules, but not all rules are functions. Interesting. I know some of you be asking, Terry, what is this? What do you mean by this? Okay. Now, what I'm trying to say is that for something to be a function, so that means for a particular variable x, means that a value of that x should be manipulated in that function to give you just one value of y. So if you remember in the previous video, we talked about processing numbers. So we had a particular input that gave us one particular output. So that means a single value of x must give you a single value of y to be called a function. So for instance, let's say we have y is equal to 3x plus 2. Okay. For those that missed my previous videos on processing numbers, so that was the reason why I had to start with that. So when x is equal to 1, and when you do the function for this, so it will give you f to be 1, to be raised to power what? Sorry, not be raised to power, be multiply. Okay, the first thing you have to do is to multiply it by 3, and that will give you 3. Then the 3 is going to be the input here. Does that make sense? And the function will now be, you now add 2 to it, and the output you have will be 5. So now you can see now that for this value of 1, the only value for y you will get is what? 5. So that means this has to be a function. So that means for value of 1, for an input of 1, the output you will get is 5. Is this making sense? So for it to be a function, I'll go over it again. So that means you usually say a function of a variable x is a rule that describes that how a value of a variable x will be manipulated to just give a value of a variable of y. So that means one value of x must give you one value of y to be called a function. Is that okay? And what I'm going to do is that in the next video, we're gonna talk about the types of functions. So we're going to have the function and the non-function. So we're going to talk about how to manipulate x. So basically, we're going to talk about manipulate x to give y. So that means the functions, okay? So the manipulation, let me not call it function, because if I say function, it might confuse you. So all the manipulation of x to give y, it could be a function. Does that make sense? It's a function if 1x give me 1y, so that means single valued, okay? Then we're going to talk about non-functions. So non-functions, this is when we have multi-valued. So remember I told you for it to be a function, and a particular input of x must give you a particular input of y, all right? So this is multi-what? Valued, all right? I'm not going to talk about this here. I'm going to talk about it in the next video, all right? So basically, what I've said that functions are rules, okay? But not all rules are functions. So that means functions are rules, but not all rules are functions. The second thing I said is that for something to be called a function, a single value of x must give you a single value of y. So basically, when I have the x, okay, into that particular function, I must only have a single value of y. Does that make sense? So for every input, one input, I must have what? One what? Output. And I gave you an example using this. So when x is equal to 1, my y was equal to 5. So that means this is a function, because for every, I can't get multiple value for y here. Is that making sense? And also, I also told you that we're going to talk about the functions and the non-functions. So functions basically are single value, and non-function are multi-value. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to determine if a particular equation or particular given expression is a function or not. All right. So I'm going to see you in the next video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any question, feel free to put it in the comment section, and I'm going to let you know. I'm going to get back to you. All right. Thank you very much.